y'all. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. Today, guys, we are going to be doing July favorites, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out if I had ever done a favorites video, and I can't remember if I have. I feel like I've done maybe one or two on this channel, but I don't do them a lot. I enjoy watching them, but I tend to like watching the ones that are a bit more broader in scope and not just about makeup. So I wanted to try that concept because that's the one that I'm the most interested in. You tell me if you guys enjoy this. But I want to talk about the makeup first and get it out of the way because there's not a lot, and none of it is actually like, well, it's new-ish. Some of it is new-ish, but a lot of it is things that I've been using every day for the past month and I've been really enjoying. So first up, let's start with what I've been doing for base. I have not been wearing foundation for the past 2 to 3 weeks, guys, because it's been so hot. And what I've been trying to do is to find something that gives me coverage without it feeling really heavy on my skin and that I can really pinpoint where I want it to go. And so what I've been doing is pairing 2 concealers. So I first start off with the Natasha Denona High Glam, and I apply that in the areas that I want more coverage, and then I blend it out. And then I go under my eyes and around my nose with the Givenchy Skin Caring Concealer. And this has been my like base duo, along with my sunscreen, which I will talk about as well, pretty much every day. And it's been giving me exactly what I want. It is a little on the yellow side, the Natasha Denona concealer, but I'm not mad at it. It's not like a perfect match, but it's not like a terrible match either. So I've just been going in with these 2 and blending them out. And then the other item that I've been using and that I've kind of rediscovered is a powder blush. So I was originally using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Glow Liquid Bronzer, and I am including this in the favorites because for the first half of the month, this is what I've been wearing, and I absolutely love it. But what I've been doing the second half of the month is that I wanted more powder products because it's been so hot. I need stuff that's going to sort of like cling to my face a little bit better. So I've sort of gone back to reaching for powder on a more regular basis, just, you know, because of logistics of it. So I have been using the Pat McGrath Divine Bronzer in Desert Glow. It is so pretty. This is the one that has the bit of sheen to it, a bit of shimmer to it, and I've just been applying that all over. It's what I'm wearing today. And one of the things I've really been loving with this is just applying this and not applying any blush. So what you're seeing here on my face, I don't have any blush on. It's all this bronzer around my nose, alongside, you know, my cheeks, a little around my chin, a little bit on my forehead. It's this product. It's not anything else, and I've been loving the way this looks because it just gives the skin this really like natural sort of glow, which is what I want, to, you know, like bronzy, like, you know, the sun has touched my skin, but the sun does not touch my skin because I wear sun hats and sunscreen, people. All right, and then the other item that I have really been loving, and I purchased towards the beginning of this month because I really needed to incorporate, now that I've been wearing more powder again and it's been so hot, I needed something that was going to set. And if you hear noise, I'm sorry guys, the window's open. It's still summertime. I didn't have to turn my air on, but I needed the window open. But I needed something that was going to really set those powder products down and so they don't feel too heavy on my skin or look overly powdery. So I picked up the e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist, and I've really been liking this. I love the way it smells. It's not overly scented. It actually has more of like a fresh kind of like almost like light cucumber smell, but not heavily scented, which I like. The sprayer on this, the mist is so fine. A lot of times I'll spray it and I'm like, I'll look at my face and I'm like, did I put it on? And then I'll spray again and I'm like, kind of feel it. It's so nice. You don't get these like big droplets and splatters of, you know, wet product on your face that you then have to like fan and get to dry. It sprays so finely and then it sets on the skin beautifully, and this has been really a lifesaver for me this past month. And then for lip product, I reviewed this was it my last video or the video before the last video, the Lisa Eldridge Velveteens, and I'm including specifically Ribbon. And the reason why I'm including it is I haven't worn this a ton this month, but when I have worn it, I have been so impressed by this product in the sense that it did not budge. And I'm using the Ribbon as the litmus for this because I have worn the other shades and I don't apply them as fully as I apply ribbon because ribbon is a red and I want to make sure I'm getting that vibrant color. I tend to wear the other ones more sheerly, and I do find that when you wear them with a light layer, they don't last as long. But this one, I do 2 coats of this, 2 like layers of this, and this does not budge, guys. I wore this for a 10-hour workday, okay? I put it on at like 10 a.m., took it off at like, I think it was like 9. I ate lunch, I drank water, I drank tea, I ate dinner. This did not budge. I had a little slight wearing here towards the end of the night, but that was it. I am so impressed by this, and so I feel like I want to include it in this because I feel like going forward when I'm looking to wear red, and I tend to, like I said in that review, prefer reds in liquid form, this is what I'm going to reach for. Now I have the bullet version of ribbon. I love the color, but I think this one is between the two going to be the new fave as far as that color goes because I was so impressed by the way that this wore. And finally, guys, let's talk about sunscreens. So I wear sunscreen every day, rain or shine, and I've been wearing sun hats because it's been so hot and so sunny. But I want to talk about the main one that I've been wearing this month. Now, I finished the Beauty of Joseon sunscreen towards, I want to say the beginning of July. Loved it. I will talk about it more, but I want to talk about one that I've been using specifically the most this month, and that has been the Isntree. And this I have been loving. The way it sits under makeup is so nice. It has no white cast. It's not overly dewy. It's not overly greasy. That is my big thing is I don't need my sunscreen to be really dewy or really glowy necessarily. I like it to have a little bit of like, I just apply moisturizer to my skin, but not that I don't need it to be like the glow screen, the Supergoop glow screen. I'm not looking for that. This is the perfect happy medium where I put it on and my skin feels moisturized. It has a tiny bit of like that glow that you get once you know, right after you've done your skincare, but it sets and I can put makeup over it. It doesn't slip and slide. It doesn't feel greasy. It doesn't feel heavy on my skin. I don't feel it. It's lovely. I get what the hype is about this, and I will be purchasing another one of these because I've really, really enjoyed it. All right, next up, let's talk about scent. So I have 2 here that I want to talk about. One I talked about in my my review roundup video, and I raved and raved about the Zara fragrance, the Vetiver Pamplemousse. Now I showed you guys how empty that one was. That one still has a tiny drop in it, but I threw it in my purse and I bring it with me and I spray it. I'm trying to finish it up. I spray it, you know, when I'm at work, when I'm about to leave for work for the day. I like to just top up my fragrance. This is the newer bottle. One of the newer bottles. Look how much I've used already. I think that this has been discontinued, and I think, at least for the season, I don't know if it's going to come back. It might, because it is a very, very summery scent. It is very bright and citrusy. It's not orange. It's grapefruit. Pamplemousse is grapefruit, and oh my god, I love it so much. That Vetiver just gives it a little something extra. And again, this has been what I've been wearing. Again, I just got this, and this is how far I've gotten. This is how much I've been wearing this. The other item that I've been wearing, which is kind of a lark, I had a bunch of rewards from Bath and Body Works, and I was trying to find things that fit the like reward amount. And so I was like, oh, let's throw this in. And it's just a little travel size of this fine fragrance mist called Endless Sea. This is so nice. And the way I've been wearing this, guys, is I spray it on when I'm like getting ready for bed, or when I first get out of the shower on a weekend and I'm not going out, so I don't need, like, I would normally, you know, if I get dressed, I'll put this on. But if I'm just like, you know, it's a Saturday morning, I took a shower, I'm throwing on my like comfies that I'm wearing in the house, or my comfies that I'm going to be wearing maybe to go to the store, run to Starbucks. This is what I've been spraying. It is so fresh and so, it's clean. It's got that scent. It says Endless Sea. It's got that vibe of, you're in Greece, in Santorini, and the breeze is blowing on the ocean, and you're getting that scent of like crisp air and with a little bit of salt and warmth. That is what you're getting when you wear this, and it just feels so nice. It just makes me think of summer, and it feels good on the skin. It's very cooling. I've been spraying this a lot, like since it's been hot. I'll just, if I'm in the house, I'll just spray it on my arms because it comes out so cool and it just feels fresh and you get this lovely, crisp, summery scent that is so, so nice. So I've been enjoying this, and this has sort of been what I've been reaching for recently. The other item from Bath and Body Works, I placed, like I said, I had a bunch of rewards. So I used my rewards, but then I also bought a couple of things just because it was like right towards the end of the semi-annual sale. So so a lot of things on sale. And I purchased a couple of candles, but the main one that I wanted, because it has one of my favorite notes, is the Salted Amber and Vetiver. And the notes in this is Salted Amber, fresh orange flower, and rich vetiver. Oh my God. This candle, I don't burn a lot of candles in the summer. I often have to make myself burn candles in the summer, but I was wanting some more summery scent. So I bought this one and another one called Citron and Tonic, which I also recommend. But this is the one that has stolen my heart because it has vetiver in it. And it's so, the synthro is amazing. I was on that trip of buying really expensive luxury candles, and what I've found with the ones that I've tried, at least, is that I've been disappointed with every single one because the synthro is just not there. And then I went back to buying Bath and Body Works candles, and the synthro was there, and I'm like, this is what I wanted. I mean, these aren't cheap, but they're not luxury, and the synthro is amazing. I put this in, you know, I'll burn this in my bedroom and I can smell it out in the hallway. I can smell it in the living room. It's so nice, and it's just a really beautiful, again, fresh summer scent. In the same vein as this one, I will say that this one has a bit more sweetness to it, but not in a gourmand way. Like the scent is just kind of has like just a tiny bit of sweetness that I really, really enjoy. And then you have that warmth of the amber with a little bit of the vetiver, and I think that's kind of what lends to the sweetness factor, because vetiver has a sort of citrus vibe to it that's really light, and that's what kind of keeps this from being too heavy. So you get that like layer of the amber and then that layer of the vetiver, and it's just so, so nice. This is like my new favorite candle right now. Absolutely obsessed. And I've burnt it like it's to here already. And the only reason I haven't burned it recently because I've burned it so much that I'm like, I don't want to use it up, but it's literally like here. All right, and then let's talk about books, guys. Let's talk about books. I want to talk about books, and I want to talk about one book in particular because it's what I'm reading. I want to say reading, but I'm almost done with it. I have like a couple of pages, and I'm including it already because it's really blown my mind. If you guys want me to do like a video talking about it, let me know. But I am finishing up The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And that sounds like, when I first got this book, and I didn't purchase it, I downloaded it from the library because I use the like Libby app, and I use that to get audiobooks. I also have an Audible account. I have lots of ways that I get books, you know what I'm saying? But I love the Libby app, and I was looking for something that was just like a light summer read. I was like, okay, what can I read right now that is kind of light? I had started one book and I just felt like it was a little too heavy for where my mind space was at. I still have it. I'm going to read it and finish it up probably by the end of the summer or maybe beginning of September. I just needed to take a break from that book because I knew that it was just a little too heavy of a subject matter for me. Should I call myself getting a light book? I'm like, a book about a group of Southern housewives finding out that there's a vampire in their town and trying to figure out how to slay him. That is the most surface level concept of this book. Like, that's the synopsis, and that is, guys, this book has blown my mind. It is a book that is telling the story. It takes place in the early 90s. I think it's 1990. It takes place over the course of 3 years. So I think it starts in 1993 and ends in like 1996, I think. It tells the story of these women in this small town in the South that I would say are sort of a microcosm of society at large when it comes to dealing with the following things: misogyny, patriarchy, misogynoir, racism, classism, socioeconomic scales, and then a little vampires thrown in. I was not prepared for what this book is dealing with, and the way that it's dealing with it. It's dealing with it in a way that is very engaging because it's a scary, spooky story. And by the way, this is a scary vampire, and I'm so glad that the book actually is writing a vampire in a scary way. He doesn't glow. He's not falling in love with teenagers, or, he's not, he's not like misunderstood. No, this dude is just evil. He's just bad, and he's terrible, and he's a grifter on top of that. So it's like he's a vampire who's also a scam artist. It's wild. But dealing with reading this book has been a journey, in the sense that it's taken me a while to get through it, and I thought it would be a short read. And the reason why it's taken me a while to get through it is that I've had to stop a couple of times because I was so upset. And the things that were upsetting me was not the horror. Like, it has some scary elements, but the horror part, what I love is that it sets you up to think that the horror is going to be the vampire. And that element is there. But the true horror of the story is watching listening to this one woman be completely gaslit by everyone around her at every turn. Her husband, her so-called friends, her community, her kids even. Everyone is gaslighting her, and they're gaslighting her because they are uncomfortable and they don't want the status quo to be disturbed. Does that sound like things we deal with in real society when it comes to, a lot of things? It deals with racism and the idea of viewing Black and brown people's children as not being like your children, and their lives not being as important as your children's lives and your status quo and your family. That is dealt with a lot in this book. Also, the inherent patriarchy that can exist within marriage, and the dynamics of that, and how problematic they can be when the power structure is so uneven. When you have women who are stay-at-home wives whose work is diminished and devalued, and the husbands think that they are the superior one in the relationship, but also that they are the decision makers, that they are there to run the lives of their wives and their children and the family as a whole. And all of that is dealt with in this book. And I have to say, those elements, and watching them play out in the way that these men talk to their wives, the way that the women talk to each other, that's another thing that it deals with. It deals with when there is no unity amongst women, when women will throw each other under the bus, women who call each other friends, what that is like. It's been a ride, and I've only got a little bit left, and I'm really enjoying it. I kind of know where it's going. There's one element of the book that I'm not very happy with, and I would love to get into that discussion a little bit more, maybe in like a review, or as I was talking about in my last video, that I'm thinking of starting a Patreon or a membership, and I'm thinking of incorporating the book element into that, and us, reviewing books, because there's things that are in this book that I would love to talk about, but I don't want to get demonetized, but I think I could be able to talk about them in that capacity, and then we can really get into the nitty-gritty, because there are things in this book that I would love to dig deeper into, but I can't here. So yeah, guys, those are the things that I have been loving. Oh, also one other thing that I've been loving, and this is not a new thing to me, but it is something that I rewatched and I want to talk about, because I don't feel like it got a lot of play. I feel like it came out at a weird time, and no one's really talked about it. But on Max, there is, and I think it started off on Prime, but it's on Max now, and it is a documentary that was directed and produced by Ethan Hawke, and it is about Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's relationship. And it's called The Last Movie Stars, and it's 6 episodes. I watched it way back when, and for some reason I decided to rewatch it because I enjoyed it so much. It was far richer and more, it dealt with their lives separately, their lives together, the dynamics of their relationship, and there is a really great quote that Maya Hawke, who kind of makes a cameo in it because she's talking to her dad via Zoom, and this is all done during lockdown, so a lot of the interviews are done over Zoom, but it actually lends itself really well to the way the story is told. She talks about how her dad told her that in relationships, there's 3 people. There's the two people in the relationship, and then there's the relationship itself, and the relationship becomes a third person because the relationship has its own dynamics and own personality and own sort of id and motivations that are completely separate from who those two people are when they're separate, and when they're just these two people as individuals. The relationship becomes the third person, and I found that so fascinating, and so like that actually is exactly what it is. And he's sort of telling the story in that way. So he tells the story of the individuals, and then he tells the story of the personhood of that relationship, and it's so good. It's so engaging. They're both of them are such incredibly interesting people. He interviews their kids. It's just their grandkids. It's just such a good docu-series. So I highly recommend that if you are looking for something to binge watch that is like really engaging and interesting, but isn't like, you know, overly depressing. I tend to watch a lot of true crime docu-series and documentaries because I do like that stuff, but this for me was great because it's like a dipping your toe into old Hollywood, but also like modern things as well, and also just like the dynamics of a really long marriage and relationship and what the reality of that actually is, especially for two famous people. So yeah. All right, guys, so those are my July favorites. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you like this concept? Like I said, I love fave videos, but I tend to like ones that have broader scope, and I like to talk for myself. I wanted to talk about things besides makeup, things that, as Hannah Louise Poston says, things that bring me joy, and these are things outside of just the makeup. These are the things that have been bringing me joy this month. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed them, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now.